Have you ever felt like you are made for more, but aren't quite sure how to align your work with your soul's purpose? In today's video, we're diving into my personal story about how energetic and spiritual alignment is crucial, not only for creating the abundance that you desire, but also the level of impact that you really are made for and a life full of flow and ease. If you're new here, I'm Makosi. I'm an initiated shaman and a spiritual visionary. And I have worked with some of the most incredible change makers in really aligning with their soul's purpose, making an incredible, meaningful impact, and then building a legacy that matters, really bridging these esoteric, energetic, and spiritual concepts into real world tangible results. And so in this video, I'm going to be diving deeper into my own journey, my story, how I came into this work, and also how I can support you in transforming your life and leadership. Truth be told, I was not always operating in alignment. I didn't come out the womb just knowing what I was put on this earth to do. And it's funny because I grew up in a very small town in southern West Virginia. And probably around 8 or 9, I became aware of the statistics that became like my enemy. I was born to a single teen mom, and I was surrounded by an environment that really felt like it was against me. And the stats said that I had very little chance of ever making something of myself. And so I decided very young, I'm going to prove this wrong. So I became the ultimate overachiever, which so many of the people that are in my world can relate to. As a kid, I really only had one intention, was like, I'm going to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do or be in college. I just knew for me, I was like, I don't play sports and I'm great in music. I knew there wasn't a high likelihood of that getting me out of my circumstances. College felt like the sure bet. So I put all of my time and energy into being the best student that I could be. And when I got to college, in the process of figuring it out, I ultimately landed on going to med school. Because if you're trying to prove people wrong and you want to be the most overachiever, there's a few things that you'll be, right? A doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, right? So I was like, doctor in front of my name sounds amazing. I'm going to do that. And also, I'm going to do this side quest of getting 2 degrees, one in business and one in marketing management, just in case, just to fall back on. Fast forward to my very last year in college. I was a super senior, so it took me 6 years to graduate. And I became a mom in my last year. And becoming a mom changed everything for me, mainly because I started looking ahead to med school and the possibility of studying and being out of my son's life for 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I was like, he's not going to know me until he's 10. And so I decided, you know what? Med school's not for me. I graduated magna cum laude with my degree in business, another degree in marketing management, and also on top of that, years of experience because I worked full time. And so I had a lot of portfolio cred working in high ticket sales, marketing, and management. However, graduating college, what they don't tell you is that if you are fresh out of college, but don't find a job that fits your experience level, you end up overqualified. So I ended up incredibly overqualified, and ultimately that resulted in me working at Target. Now, working at Target, while one of the best retail jobs that I had, it still felt like I was using a tiny fraction of my potential, and I hated leaving my son all day, every day. So I decided to go all in on a direct sales business. Literally, I signed up on a Friday, I put in my 2 weeks notice on the following Monday, and I went all in. Now it's funny because I almost failed actually in my first 90 days. I got off to a pretty good start, but I did not know how to grow the thing. And so I was sitting there 3 months in looking, I had no clients coming in. I had no parties on my books. The business that I ran was a party business. And I had a conversation with my mentor and I said, listen, you just tell me whatever I got to do. I don't care how uncomfortable it is, I will do it. And 6 months later, I was in the top 1% of that company. Experienced all of the success that everyone tells you should be fulfilling, should make you happy. So here I was, 24. I had the tall, dark, and handsome husband, the white picket fence, the miracle baby, right? And on top of that, I'm in the top of my company, being flown, free trips to Vegas, designer handbags, all of that at 23, 24 years old. And though I was not ungrateful, I was unfulfilled. I really felt, oh my gosh, I'm at the peak of success. Where do I go from here? Everybody told me that this should be fulfilling, and I don't feel like I'm in my purpose. So I started to ask the universe, God, source, different questions. Like, why are we here? Can't be just to work all day, every day, and just exist. And I started to ask, what am I here for? Who am I, really? And this ultimately led to me entering into initiation. Long story short, a lot of wild signs and synchronicities started to happen. And then I entered into spiritual initiation through an actually structured initiation process. So this took probably 5 years of going through so many ups and downs, activating my gifts, but most importantly, really deconstructing and deconditioning all of the limited ways of being that actually were not serving me. And that was the most crucial part, really beginning to question what I had been told and what I thought was possible and how this universe really works from an ancient and shamanic perspective. If you fast forward now to 2018, I complete my initiation, I become Makosi, and this is when I start putting out my shingle. Now, mind you, I had spiritual gifting my entire life. I came into this life remembering who I was the last time I was here and having a really decent gift of sight as a kid, knowing, etc. But my initiation process really expanded that gifting to me being able to have a greater level of sight. It opened up other gifts as well, dreams, my smell, sense of smell, lots of different things. I could talk about that at another time. But when I came out in 2018 of initiation and put out my shingle to start taking on clients, I found that very quickly the kinds of people that I started attracting were not who I expected at all. In fact, pretty quickly, I started attracting 7- and 8-figure thought leaders, top experts in all sorts of fields, doctors, lawyers, finance experts, manifestation experts, psychologists, lots of really logical, analytical marketing strategists, as well as even a few celebrity clients. And through that process, I built my business to 7 figures, and I've created millions of dollars, but also have supported others in doing that. And the money has not ever really been my original intention, because I was doing quite well financially before, and anytime I've been in a sales role, that's always paid very, very well. However, for me, this is about, yes, money, but the money being a byproduct of you operating in alignment with your highest potential, really self-actualizing, and then ultimately transcending, because we are here to evolve into our highest and most expanded versions of self, right? But then also we are to utilize who we are and who we're here to be to impact others. And the money is just a byproduct of that. It is just a magnification of how much perceived value you have created in the world. So now my mission is to guide visionary leaders just like you to align with your soul's purpose, to really integrate deep spiritual and energetic transformation into your work, and creating meaningful impact. I have become very adamant about us making conscious change, and we can all do that in lots of ways, not just as a spiritual teacher or as a Reiki master, etc. I work with people in all sorts of fields, but what is important is this integration piece, that how you are evolving and who you are becoming is then bridged from an energetic level into a practical place, okay? So my gift is really in bridging these energetic and strategic components, because I have seen a gap that there are lots of incredible spiritual teachers, transformation experts who really have a mastery of the energetic. And then there's the other side, a lot of people who have really strategic insight. But my specialty is bridging that gap, translating ancient, esoteric, metaphysical concepts, psychological concepts into real world business and life success. And I do that through a few modalities. The first and foremost is subconscious transformation, really understanding your patterns as well as collective patterns, how that's playing out, and then the shifts that you need to make in order to create a different reality, in order to manifest a different experience. I also incorporate a lot of ancient and shamanic wisdom, because right now, I think if you're watching this video, you know that we are out of harmony, right? We can feel that. Many of us have become much more conscious in the years prior, and our ancestors, our ancient spiritual systems had wisdom that we can apply today. And so some of those things are like the cycles of nature and how we can work with the cycles within ourselves and align to those so that we can actually tap into flow, those sorts of things. I also utilize tools like human design and gene keys. Now, my perspective on any of those tools is that they're not designed to be a box, but just a tool for us to understand ourselves better. And last but not least, I also incorporate high level development. So for my perspective, everything starts from the internal out, but also it's important for us to understand how to evolve in a way that is also practical, that also creates real shifts, real change in life. So when you work with me, I focus mainly on helping you align with your soul's purpose. Your soul's purpose is not just about what you're here to do, but more importantly about who you're here to be. And who you're here to be can show up in lots of industries, in lots of ways. But the disconnect is to not really know the truth of who you are and not know how to amplify who you truly are. I also support people with really manifesting aligned abundance. No more dirty money, dirty opportunities, just betraying your values for money. It's important that you get really clear on what matters to you and that you align the way in which you create abundance in all of its forms with those values. I also support people in really being able to lead with confidence, moving past imposter syndrome through various tools and practices and rituals, and also creating a legacy that matters. I often will say I live my life from my deathbed, and I encourage everyone to do that. That sounds very morbid, but also it's really empowering, because when you start to see your decisions from your deathbed and you're making them from that version of yourself, would that version of you be proud of this version of you and how you're showing up? It creates a very different relationship with how you're living your life day to day. And so many of my clients come from this place of feeling really disconnected from their purpose, having this crisis of meaning, which so many people are experiencing, right? Many of them also feel stuck or stagnant, hitting a ceiling or hitting a plateau in trying to manifest their next level, whether that next level is another income level or if it's another level of leadership. Many of my clients go on and do the most incredible things. I've had clients who have gotten in with NASA, who have gotten Netflix specials, who are on TEDx stages and being interviewed by HGTV and major media outlets. So that's another way that your next level might manifest. Also, overcoming overwhelm and burnout, because in order for you to create the ripple of impact, the ROI that you are here to create, it's so important that you operate in alignment with how your energy works. And at all costs, I try to support my clients in avoiding burnout, because burnout will take you out of the game. I have a personal experience in college. I actually, going all the way back to 8 years old, I studied music for a very long time. I'm actually a classically trained singer. I played trumpet. I played in the jazz band all the way up through college. And my original intention was to become a music teacher. But in college, they had me I was taking trumpet lessons and voice lessons, also like clarinet, piano, flute, and saxophone, all in one semester, on top of taking written and oral theory. So I was learning how to write music and also how to hear and write music. And I burnt out completely, and I stopped singing, stopped performing for a very long time. I've done a few things since then. My hope, crossing my fingers, is to actually at least start incorporating more voice lessons and whatnot, because it's really a part of who I am. Anyway, I went on a side quest. Back to what I was saying. Also, through my work with clients, and also if you're tuning into this video or you're listening to it on a podcast, I really help people to, first and foremost, find clarity. Having clarity is not something that can just happen on a worksheet. It is a process. It's a journey. It's an unfolding. Also, we create flow and ease in their work and build thriving businesses that are aligned with their purpose, as well as investments. I'm very big on building conscious wealth, because so many people with spiritual gifting and connections have not built wealth in the way that others have. And in order for us to create the change that we want to see in the world, we need more conscious, heart-centered people making lots and lots of money and hiring people in alignment with their values and really growing their missions. A really great example of this was a client of mine who went through our work together. She not only was able bring the amount of time that she worked down to 56 of the time in a year. She also crossed the 7-figure mark. And she's someone who has a very solid business, supporting others in overcoming addiction. And I hope to see her writing a book soon. I'm saying this in case she's listening. But also, things have expanded for her so much that she now actually owns a second business that's doing incredibly well. Those are the sorts of things that we do in my world. If you are ready to align with your soul's purpose and create the impact that you know you were meant for, here's how I'm going to support you. First and foremost, be sure to subscribe to me wherever you are catching this, whether that's on YouTube, my podcast, or Substack. You can also take my complimentary consciousness quiz. This is going to help you to get clarity on what level of consciousness you're operating in and the biggest blocks you need to move through at that stage in order to expand into your next level of consciousness. And last but not least, if you would love for my support in really integrating your purpose with the impact that you're here to make, you can apply on my website, or you can find it in the description. And this application is designed to either lead you to the opportunity to work with me privately, one-on-one. I only take a handful of those, or it will direct you to the most aligned offer that I have available. It's important that you really understand that you are here for a reason. The world needs your medicine and your unique gifts. I can't wait to see the impact that you're going to create. I'll see you soon.